understanding that we are in control and we are in charge of the emotions that we attach to.
Certain people begin to feel a bit more touchy-feely, a little bit more louder and obnoxious. That's when women fear the surroundings.
What are the things that you think are the gaps in understanding how you're going to leverage AI from a learning and development perspective? That's a great pilot for you to demonstrate.
What does it feel like when onboarding, payroll, compliance, and even IT access all run through one platform? It feels like everything finally works together and HR finally has room to scale. Deal brings global people operations into one place, so new hires start strong, workflows stay compliant, and teams move faster. See it in action at del.com/nickdayhr. Imagine being able to sit down with the most influential HR and leadership thinkers in the world and then ask them all the same 4 questions. Now, imagine hearing their answers back to back, distilled into pure wisdom. Well, today you don't have to imagine. Welcome to today's special episode of the HR L&D Podcast, where we unlock the HR L&D Vault, a curated collection of the most powerful insights, lessons, and truths shared by the pioneers who have been shaping the future of work, who have joined me on the show. From behavioral scientists to CHROs, from psychologists to founders, futurists, and of course, CHRO and leadership icons in the world of people management. These are the answers that have stopped me in my tracks, changed the way I think, and continue to transform organizations across the globe. I'm your host. My name is Nick Day. I'm CEO at JGA Recruitment Group. We're a specialist HR recruiter. And today you're going to hear the collective wisdom from the leaders who are redefining what it means to work, lead, and thrive in the modern world. So let's open the HR L&D Podcast, HR L&D Vault, and please enjoy the inspirational responses you're about to hear. Let's open the HR L&D Vault. 3 short, sharp questions for you. The first is simple. One piece of advice you would give to HR L&D leaders who want to help unlock their workforce potential.
Yeah, I think, again, I'd start with the AI readiness quiz. I think that's a great place to start, is go in, understand your organization. What are the things that you think are the gaps in understanding how you're going to leverage AI from a learning and development perspective? How do you close those gaps with leadership? Find a sponsor inside your organization, a functional leader, a business unit leader that really needs help, right? Because they've got high turnover, bad retention, other things that can help them accelerate. That's a great pilot for you to demonstrate efficacy that can scale across the organization.
Amazing. Now, of course, I mentioned in the introduction, you've got 20 years experience scaling SaaS businesses from 10 million to over 700 million. So what's one thing you now know that you wish you'd known when you began your career?
Wow. Well, I think for me, like the thing that really gets me excited is I love being in industries in transformation, right? That's always been my focus, is how do you see, some lights and some green shoots in the chaos? And for us, getting AI integrated in our platform early and understanding how to apply it to learning objects and skills and assessments was a really great foundation to help us accelerate the scale and the types of applicability to our partners. And to me, that's what's exciting, is seeing the green shoots. Don't get distracted by, the noise on the outside that might say, oh, it's like this, but understand where you're creating value and outsized impact. And so, for example, for us, our outsized impact we see is in training companies. We see a ton of training companies use us to sell training as an e-commerce, right, opportunity. And so we're integrated in their business, and that's a core, right, customer ICP for us that we're going to continue to build and scale. And so that's where you get the kernel that provides the foundation of growth for the business, that you can start to add on these other use cases, internal and external training, channel partners, right? Sales teams, all of those things become a part of the core business. Don't lose that, because that's the business that's going to help you get the most value and the best retention and best referrals that you'll build the big business on.
No, I love that. And the last question is something that's, I love asking this because I always get to learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. But is there one book or quote or a life lesson that's really shaped your philosophy on leadership and purpose?
There's a book that I read. It's a short, almost a child's book. It's The Boy, the Horse, the
It's my
mole and the
favorite. It's
fox.
my favorite.
Yeah,
Love
it's the
that book.
greatest. It's the greatest. And the quote that I love as a leader, right, that I say to my children, I say to my employees is the one where the boy asks the horse, he says, "I think you believe in me more than I believe in myself." And the horse says, "You'll catch up." Right? That's what we need to do as leaders is show that we believe in our employees, that we believe in their development, that we're going to support them. And maybe they're not confident. Maybe they don't have the skills yet to know what to do. But if we give them the right encouragement and tell them that we believe in them more than they might believe in themselves, they're going to be effective and get the confidence they need. Everybody has those people in their lives that believed more in them at the moment when they're a bit vulnerable, right? Those are the people that you remember most in your life that supported you and really got you on the right track to be successful in life, professionally, personally, anywhere. And so that's what I try to do.
What's one myth about women's safety at work events?
People change when they have a glass or two of alcohol. Certain people do.
Right.
Some people don't. But when certain people begin to be a little bit more touchy-feely, a little bit more louder and obnoxious, that's when women fear the surroundings. They try to, maneuver out of it. So you can't assume just because everyone's friends and the teams get along during the working day that's going to be the same kind of atmosphere in a work party where the situation is different when people are, say, letting their hair down and maybe too much letting their hair down.
What's the single most transformative leadership moment you've experienced in your career?
It was a negative moment. I own several companies, and we discovered that one of my employees, a senior and very important employee, had been stealing from us for a large number, $300,000 over the course of several years. And when we discovered it, obviously we had to escort the employee out. I had to gather everybody, and with tears in my eyes, I had to tell them I let them down, like that I'd let this happen. My failure to oversee the situation was the reason we were in this hole, and I didn't know how deep the hole was going to get. And
Wow.
that openness, that raw authenticity. I walked upstairs, closed the door of my office because I was crying about how bad this was going to be. I had no idea that it would be $300,000. It's a lot of money in a little company, right? And the first two knocks on the door were two of my most senior employees who came in and said, "Look, I so trust you. Like I've been here for a decade. I so trust you that if you need to hold my salary to make sure other people get paid, I know you're good for it." And when two employees will tell you that, suddenly you feel different about what you're up against because people have your back.
Oh, well, I think it's so powerful. I'm not sure I should ask the next two questions. Vulnerability, authenticity, they're very, very powerful things. And, that I think that speaks volumes for the kind of leader that you were in that moment and I'm sure still are. So I would take that away. That's a huge lesson to learn. And in uncomfortable circumstances, a wonderful thing to discover at the same time.
Most uncomfortable. Yeah. I mean, to have to escort a senior executive in your company out the door, and then ultimately to watch her go to prison. She went to prison for 3.5 years. It's crazy. But it's a big thing that happens. And unfortunately it happens far more often than we care to
It does. Well, I appreciate you very much, Don, for sharing. So thank you. Question number 2, looking back, what's one piece of advice you wish you'd received when you started your career?
Patience. I think I was always in a hurry. Like I had set for myself some numbers. I had to achieve this position by this year. And I had to, if I wasn't in that role by this year, I will have considered myself a failure. And I put all these imaginary standards for myself that I think probably robbed me of some of the joy of achievement.
I'm loving the vulnerability and honesty you're sharing with me here, Don. This is fantastic, and I hope it's resonating with our listeners. My last question is this: as 12 times, I believe, New York best-selling author, I'm going to ask this question to. But what's one book you would recommend that every HR professional, talent leader, learning director, whoever it might be, should read or engage with, if they have the opportunity to do so?
So I would tell you, there's a former Continental Airlines CEO named Greg Brenneman who wrote a book around around leadership that to me, and I'm sorry I can't recall the name of the book,
That's
but
okay.
I read it several years ago, reread it a couple of years ago, and I just really, it stood out to me as one of those leadership books that is that's timeless and that will be valuable for all of us. It deals heavily in the worlds of turning amazing organizations, difficult organizations around. Continental Airlines obviously would be classic turnaround, but the willingness to be vulnerable and open as he did so was really important as well.
HR leaders, I know you're driving culture, transformation, engagement, and now digital reinvention as well. But none of that works without the right people in the right seats. I'm Nick Day, host of this podcast, but also founder of JGA Recruitment Group. And here's what I hear every week from top HR leaders. They say, Nick, we can't find the talent. It's our biggest challenge. And when we do, we can't retain them. Well, that's where we come in. At JGA, we specialize in HR recruitment and only HR recruitment. From executive search assignments placing CHROs to contingency hires finding HR pros to global HR transformational contract placements and every people role in between. Across every vertical and at every single level, we know where the top people are, what motivates them, and most importantly, how to get them excited about your opportunity, even if they're not actively looking. With engagement rates over 90%, we don't rely on job boards. We rely on relationships. We place fast, we place right, and we do it in a way that reflects your brand, your values, and your goals. So if you're building a strategic HR function, please don't leave it to chance. Visit jjrecruitment.com or reach out to me directly and let's build the future of work together. What's one piece of advice you would give to an HR L&D leader who wanted to better support employee well-being?
To better support employee well-being, make sure there's a good mental health policy in your workplace. And when I say good, I mean vibrant, broad, and deep. So supporting mental health is really, to me, number one.
Yeah, wonderful. What's one lesson you've learned about resilience that you wish you'd known earlier in your career?
Okay, you're going to laugh at this, but as much as I help other people with their burnout, I also need to take care of myself. And so even though we hear people say, oh, you've got to exercise so many days a week, if I don't get outside and get some sunlight, even on a foggy day, like oddly, like I'm having here in Northern California today, you still get the benefits of the vitamin D from the sun. So taking care of my own resilience is really important.
I love that. I love that. And also it grounds you going outside as well. We've got grounding, we've got sunshine, we've got vitamin D. There's a Latin phrase called solvitur ambulando, which is basically solved by walking, which is an ancient phrase that people used to go outdoors even then because it's so good for our well-being. So I love that we brought that up. Last one for you then. What's one book, keynote, resource, leader, can be a film, anything you like, any resource you choose that's really inspired you on your journey to banishing burnout?
There is a book called Lunch with Lucy about a CEO who had intuitive emotional intelligence. She had lunch when she started her company. It was a service that she did medical billing. And so timing was very critical. And she took she took a different employee out one at a time every Wednesday. It was Lunch with Lucy Day, and every single employee got time with her. And there's so many lessons built in to the things that she did. So the book is written in the first person, but it's all about all the lessons and how she opened herself up and listened to employees and listened to customers and listened to her IT team. So she wasn't just all about, well, I know everything. She knew that she didn't know everything. And that's one thing I loved about her, is that she opened herself up to other people's suggestions, but she spent time with her people.
One piece of advice you would give to HR L&D leaders who want to unlock their potential?
Make yourself be different than every other leader out there, right? So this is where it's great if you can start tapping into your intuition, giving yourself that blank mind, that blank space, because you're going to start receiving information and being able to guide people, like we've been talking about, guide people in the way that's going to best serve them and give you a stronger connection with the people that you're working with. And you're going to end up feeling more fulfilled at the end of the day too, because they are going to appreciate your guidance 10 times. And same for them. They're going to be happier. You're going to be happier. And so I think that's a really great way for people to start.
Love that. Love that. One thing you now know that you wish you'd known when you started your career.
Trust myself. Trust myself. Always trust myself.
Love that. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not by no means least, one book, or in your instance, could be a story, could be a podcast interview or quote that's really shaped your philosophy, either on leadership or on purpose or something similar.
Like I had touched on, the biggest thing that really has changed my whole life world perspective is understanding that we are in control and we are in charge of the emotions that we attach to an event. And that really is what shaped and shifted my whole world. And when I was really sick and going through all those things and struggling mentally and all that, just realizing that I have this choice, this power, this control over the thoughts, that really changed my world. And when we start changing our thoughts, we also start changing the cells within our body. And just learning all of that was a really huge game changer for me.
And there you have it, a rare chance to hear the most insightful answers from some of the brightest minds in HR and leadership. If these HR L&D Vault responses have sparked ideas, challenged your thinking, or even inspired you to lead a little bit differently, then please make sure you follow, subscribe, and lead us a 5-star rating in your favorite podcast app. Or indeed, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do leave a comment below. It really does help us bring more transformative conversations to the world. But most importantly, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please do share this with your HR colleagues and friends, because that way we can raise the profile of human resources and people management worldwide, and we can build a community as we do it. Now, of course, if you'd like to dive deeper into any of the responses you've heard today, you will actually find full episodes with each of today's guests linked in the show notes. Apart from that, thank you for joining me for this special episode of the HR L&D podcast. And until next time, I've been your host. My name is Nick Day. Please do keep learning, keep leading, and keep sharing the future of work. Thank you. Deal is the all-in-one platform to hire, manage, and pay your global team, giving HR one place to work instead of juggling disconnected systems. From onboarding to offboarding, Deal brings payroll, compliance, and even IT access together across 150 plus countries, all on infrastructure they built themselves. That means HR isn't wrestling with logins, tabs, and tools all day long. Book your demo today at deel.com/nickdayhr. That's deal.com/nickdayhr.